I have been going to conventions since as long as I can remember, if I'm completely honest.
Because, like, sometimes you can't cover an entire genre in half an hour.
Pausing, and we will probably resume it sometime this week.
It's kind of like the special features on a DVD.
Field Guide to Monsters?
One of the handbooks over there.
Huh.
This is Argo City Extra, a special edition of the Argo City podcast.
So we are doing a little something
Maddie
different
and Matthew
this week because
Yay!
we went to
Zipcon!
Describe what Zipcon is.
Zipcon is an anime convention held at the University of Akron. It's always been such a fun one.
Right. University of Akron, it's like their anime club puts it on. So this one is fan run. This is not a corporate convention.
And that's how you know it's good, when it's run by the people who actually enjoy it.
Right. And this one's also always been heavily panel based. Yes. Look, every convention has a different personality. Some are just big glorified dealers' rooms. Some are cattle calls that have a bunch of celebrities in them and people from movies and TV. Some are run by big greedy corporations. Some are run by small fan organizations. And Zipcon I like because it's
a pretty decent mixture of all the good things, I'd say.
It's grown over the years too, because they've started bringing in anime people. There was one person there that I don't know enough to know her. There was one guy there that was going to be there from Digimon, and he had to cancel at the last minute.
That would explain why that panel room was closed.
Yeah. That was quite a trip.
Oh, yes. Where we lived, we were hit with, like, a bunch of icy, rainy, snowy crap, like, literally the night before.
And it's not so much snow as much as it was ice.
It was scary getting over there.
It was. And I ended up driving about half speed, literally half speed the entire way there. But it's also like, I'm sitting here thinking, this is the first real convention of the season. It's Maddie's only chance to get to an anime convention this year that we know of. We missed Anime Ohio
because I forgot to ask off of work.
And I'd done to Ohio a week previous, which, by the way, we got the same weather last week, but I got it on the way back, not the way in. But also, I brought a friend
with me.
You brought a friend from work, yes.
Okay. I'm going to interrupt you a bit here. I met this girl who typically works front with me at my job. And we kind of ended up, like, talking. We're both, like, very crafty, and we had a lot of that in common. And we started, like, the conversation kind of tilted towards anime and other shows. And I'm like, I asked her one day, would you want to come to a convention with us? And she's like, yeah, sure. So we scheduled and made sure that we were both off and talked with the manager because we had to fix that in the scheduling, but we managed to get out. We managed to go and get her out there.
And that's the thing too. This is her first convention,
like, ever.
Yeah, not just first anime convention, first convention experience ever. And
I'd say not Geek Fest. Zipcon's a pretty decent introduction.
It is. Well, I mean, convention life it's a nice, safe place. It's a great place to show off costumes and stuff like that, and she had something pretty amazing. So she did this amazing Dobby cosplay. Like, she had the full makeup, like, all the way on her chin, going all the way down her neck, like, full on latex. It was incredible. She told me that she woke up at 4 a.m. We picked her up around 8:30 and had been doing it for hours. And I'm just sitting there like, oh my God, holy crap! Right, and I made sure I had an emergency makeup, not just an emergency repair kit for costumes in the car, but a makeup kit, because, I know that can happen. So I had latex with me, but it's like, okay, it's this poor girl's first convention ever, and
if something goes
wrong, we gotta go. We gotta make it there.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I'm going 45 miles an hour on a 70-mile freeway.
And we passed, like, around 6 or 7 accidents on our way over. Yes.
including one guy that I watched literally spin 180 degrees,
right,
and then some, right in front of us.
That was terrifying.
It really. Now she's sleeping through the whole thing in the back seat, and bless her heart. You are trying your best not to pay attention to it. I am white knuckling it with both hands on the wheel the entire way there.
I was just trying not to fall asleep because I didn't know she was asleep.
And we're playing at one point. Like, okay, I need you to stop playing
I was playing the Attack on Titan English dub of the intro song,
which is just a little bit too anxious. It's bump, 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 and I'm like, you know what? It's appropriate, but I don't need the extra anxiety right now.
I felt so bad. I actively threw on like the happiest song I could find afterwards. And so we just turned it off altogether to make it easier to focus.
At one point we did. It was bad. Which actually meant that we didn't see nearly as many people.
That place was like, I wouldn't say it was empty, but it was empty compared to how it usually is.
We arrived, and we are used to the line stretching the length. This takes place at University of Akron's Student Union. And their student union is a big building. It's a 4-story building, stuff on every floor. And you go in on these, up these stairs and in. And the line usually goes from one end of the building to the next.
Yeah, they usually have it like wrapped around. There was no line when we walked in. That has never happened before.
I'm like, basically you show up to this thing and you assume you're not going to make your first panel.
But we were way too early for our first panel.
Early is unheard of.
Like I've even heard of like people who are running panels. We ran into a Sue and an Ochako last year at Zipcon, when we brought my friend Lauren, and she didn't even make it to her first panel because she couldn't get through the line.
Right. It's just it is that bad. It is always that packed, and we walked in. It was
insane.
That was very freaky. Like we were like, huh.
What?
We have time before your first panel. What are we gonna do? Is the arcade open yet?
Like we popped over there, then me and my friend walked over to the dealer's room, and they weren't even open yet.
Yeah, seriously, the dealers. I cannot emphasize how unusual that was. But on the other hand, we're just there, happy to have made it there in one piece.
Yeah.
So we know that she was done up as Dabi. What did you show up as?
I showed up as my Mei Hatsume. Essentially just like pink wig, UA Sports Festival uniform, the boots that you made me, and I borrowed a pair of steampunk goggles from her, so I didn't wear like the big ones because I wasn't in the mood for a bigger headache that day.
Right, and we were hoping that that would solve that problem. I
didn't see you the entire convention.
That's so weird too. It doesn't usually happen. We were on 2 completely different tracks, and I looked over your schedule because you looked over what was scheduled.
Yeah.
This is how you know it's a good convention, where there's multiple things going on in multiple rooms at any given time,
exactly.
And you can't do everything. And I'm like, I looked over your schedule. I'm like, I like it. Maybe I'll just shadow. I mean, I'm not going to try and like hover, but maybe I'll just shadow. And I ended up not doing a single thing that you guys did.
Yeah, you weren't in a single panel we did.
No,
that's really unusual.
That really is. We'll get into some of that in a minute. So, you guys had your costumes, and I had my costume.
Your ridiculousness.
So we're talking in the future here, but this was back in February, and in fact it was February 15th. And look, I don't have nearly as many anime costumes as you do.
No.
And I've used them all as Zipcon. So at this point, last year I went as Trapjaw from Masters of the Universe because it was at least animation. This year I'm like, you know what? It's the 15th. I recently finished putting together a Grinch costume.
Yes.
From the Grinch Who Stole Christmas. What if the Grinch were to steal Valentine's Day? What would that look like?
I still remember all the ridiculousness that led up to you eventually bringing that one out. Like the random pictures you had me take of you in the dark. Or you building a freaking crossbow. Or a bow and arrow for your Grinch.
A nice soft foam one that wouldn't get tagged by security either.
They were so nice about tagging things.
They actually they did put a zip tie on it.
But they made it blue so that it would match it, and they cut it short.
You can't see it.
And they cut it short so that I didn't have to wrap it like the year before. It was amazing. They were so great.
So I had my Grinch mask with a it's actually the wig I use for the Joker, but it's a nice wild green floppy one, spiky.
I still say you should have worn the long green hair anime girl wig. I think that would have been funnier.
Leather jacket because the Grinch wants to look cool, and angel wings, and a shirt that read, "Not today, Cupid."
Oh my god.
And I ran around the entire convention aiming my bow at people and pretending to shoot them. My favorite thing to do was, see, like I said, it's 3 or 4 story building. Mm-hmm. And in the middle of each floor, there's like a large hole. I mean, it's like you can look down the
different floors.
Right, you look down to
look down, look up.
And this is something that you learn when you're a cosplayer. Nobody ever looks up. So
oh my gosh.
I would be on the top floor. I would be looking at people down below me. I would be aiming my bow at them and pretending to shoot them, and nobody saw it. Now, I look up. I went down to like the second floor where the food and the restaurants are, and I saw people like making fun of me, and I like started shooting arrows up at them and getting into a fight with them.
Of course you did.
I was wandering around. See, that's the thing about the Grinch is fun with this kind of stuff, and I was surprised at just how well received he was. But man, everybody loved this. The student union has a game room, pool and bowling and stuff like that, which is free to students and not to people who aren't students. So I would go up to the windows and press myself against the windows and stare at them. Or like wave at them or make fun of them, and then they'd make fun back, and I'd stomp off in a huff. At one point, I'm wandering through the dealer's room, and somebody saw that I was getting a little warm, and like brought a fan over to start waving at me, and all day it was just Luke Skywalker came over and tried to force choke me.
Something I find funny. The first thing that pops into my head is I should do like a Where's Waldo costume.
Something I could.
I need to do that because that would be so funny.
See, in anime we try and stick with theme, but some things are universal, and this was ridiculous enough that everybody got it.
I mean, hey, I came across a Sundrop from Five Nights at Freddy's, and they were handing out little sticker stars. So I think you could do whatever you want here.
That's a thing at Zipcon too. People wandering around handing out stuff.
It's always so much fun when people do that.
Somebody handed me a duck. Somebody handed me a bunny. There was a mushroom that somebody handed me. My buddy Rocky showed up as someone from Dragon Ball and handed me a muffin.
Actually, another thing I just want to mention in here, even aside from just being given stuff, the weird experiences that you get at this particular convention. When me and my friend were walking through the halls, I think we were on our way over to the dealer's room or something. This one guy stopped us in the hall and was like, "Would you like to sign my petition?" And I'm like, "Okay, what's your petition?" It's like, "To make politicians play violent video games." And I'm like, "Yes, I will absolutely sign this." And I signed it, and I handed it off to my friend, and she signed it, and we left on our merry way. After the guy next to him proceeded to hand him a contract and said, like, "Your soul is mine now." And then we just kind of like walked off. But that was hilarious.
This is con life, though. This is what this is part of. I mean, that's part of the reason that you go to these things. There's one night at convention. Actually, no, not night. It was one morning at convention at Concoction. Concoction, yeah. And I got back in. I'm stopping in at the Con Suite to get coffee and breakfast. And the person behind the bar is like, "Ah, you're back." And then the person sitting at the bar says, "Yes, and his front, too." You're back and your front.
Oh, my gosh.
This is what we love about going to conventions.
Yeah, everybody there is just having a good time most of the time, and at least the ones you take me to, everyone's usually generally really friendly, so you can essentially go up and talk to literally anyone.
I think that's part of con life too, and that's part of why I introduced you guys to con life, because Lydia used to go to some of them too.
Yeah.
And you started going to them really young, and like we keep saying, eventually we're going to do a convention history kind of.
Yeah, that'll
but
be
you've
an
been going to
episode. You've
been going to Zipcon for a while
too.
too.
Yeah, I want to say we've been going for a while. Yep.
Zipcon though, you've gone as Jigglypuff.
That's probably the earliest.
For those of you who are watching this on YouTube, we're going to include that video.
That was a weird
because
experience.
we can. But you've done a bunch of other ones, a bunch of other characters there, and this is because it's a standard one. It's a safe one. I know what's going to happen there. I know who's going to be there, but also because I wanted to introduce you to ones where it is programming based.
And I always love programming-based conventions because I have it with the ADHD, or maybe even just not due to that. I get bored easily. And I like stuff that has like a lot of options and a lot of panels and stuff. And a lot of the panels that me and my friend went to were very fascinating. Okay, the first panel that me and her actually went to was this Japanese bracelet braiding panel. And the lady told us like the history of it, about different types of that kind of Japanese art. And I've always been fascinated with Japanese history, with both its culture and with its mythology. Mm-hmm. And like we learned how to make these really cool bracelets. And I spent a while just doing it. And even after we left the panel and we're waiting for the plus size one to start, I just kept doing it. And me and her were just sitting next to each other because we're both crafty girls. And we just kept like doing it. And even later on, at like towards the middle of the panel, when I was I couldn't figure out how to do that stupid like loosen and tighten thing there. I don't know why. I could not figure it out. But it was so interesting to actually have like something hands-on to do.
Yeah, and I thought, okay, that looks like that'd be cool to do. But then I saw they're doing one on Japanese archetypes.
I wish I had seen that one.
That one was fun because they go through like the idea of, okay, so you usually get like a group of 5 or maybe of 3. And you've got the hero, you've got the heart, you've got the tank, you've got the comic relief, and you have the smart one. And that was all good stuff. So I had fun with that. I did my own crafty ones, though, too, because I wandered into create your own manga cover.
Yeah.
And they had like 6 up, and like, this is what we're doing. So I want you to take one of these. There's a Pokemon one. There's a Demon Slayer one. There's a host.
Or in Host Club?
Yes, Host Club one.
I'm surprised they actually included that.
There were like 6 different ones, and I recognized most of them. And we're going to hand you a piece of paper. You've got a box of colored pencils. I want you to draw your own version of one of these. And I, of course... See, I actually am a semi-professional artist, so I'm gaming the system here.
Of course, yeah.
My editor was looking at this like, why are you drawing this and not Long October? But I decided, okay, I'm going to do a mashup of Pokemon and Demon Slayer and have Pikachu attacking them with a Jason hockey mask on. I have a 3D printed figure of that.
Yeah, he does. It's not even recent. He's had it for years.
And so they're just watching me and laughing. Like at some point they walk by and drop Fun Dip over for me to keep my energy up. I'm doing this while it's still in the Grinch mask too. I had to take the gloves are off, but the Grinch mask is still on.
No.
My vision is impaired.
Oh no. My friend and I were actually going to stop at that panel, but we ended up skipping over it.
What else did you guys do?
Well, after the arts and crafts one, we popped into the plus-size cosplay panel, which was interesting. My only beef with it, we ended up leaving halfway through just because it was more about, like, accepting yourself and finding, like... It was more about, like, self-acceptance and affirmations. And
rather than...
there is nothing wrong with that. Absolutely do what works for you. I was looking for tips. I was looking for, like, sources to go to or things or where to look. They were literally just talking about how to, like different sewing machines. Well, not different sewing machines, but, like, they mentioned a story about a sewing machine. They mentioned one about how, like, Just find something that you feel good in your own skin, which once again, I have no issue with. But that's not what I came
We
here
already
for.
do that.
I looked to her and I looked to my friend and I was like, "Are you enjoying this?" And like I think they said like, and I'm like, "You want to leave?" And then they're like, "Yeah." And then we kind of like walked out and we went over to the dealer's room.
I mean, I and that's something I look for too. 'Cause I literally stopped in a wig styling panel. And it's probably way more advanced than I need. What I really need is like how to fade some colors and stuff like that. But there's some stuff that I walked away with and some ideas that I needed that I could use. Mm-hmm. I actually hit the one that you usually like, the Confused Greenies, which is...
Oh, we love the Greenies.
This is an improv troupe.
They're amazing.
They bounce around conventions and events in Ohio doing improv and general like games and stuff like that, but also improv skits based on theme. So they'll be at Concoction. They usually do some stuff that's either fantasy or sci-fi based there. At Zipcon, they usually do stuff that is anime or Japanese based.
Like the Art of Kyogen is usually what their panel's called, where they essentially take old folk stories and improvise them.
And that's always fun as well. It's the variety of stuff that you get at this kind of a show is just amazing.
And yet, I didn't even go to them. Okay. Unless you had anything else to mention on that, I'm going to be hijacking this for a few minutes. So, one of the things that me and my friend were looking at was a panel called, was a My Hero panel. Essentially, it was like a truth or dare kind of thing. And we were like, we gotta go to this. This sounds like so much fun. And we both suffered through costume to go to this panel. Thinking we'd only be there for 30 minutes before we'd head over to watch the Greenies. Because I told her when we were, like, writing up a schedule, okay, I'm willing to do, like, anything here, but I want to see the Confused Greenies. That is non-negotiable. Yet, we were there literally the entire time. The minute that I walked in, I saw one face that I knew, my friend Lauren, who we had brought the year previous.
We brought her to her first convention.
Exactly.
This is something I like doing, being able to bring young people to their, because it's safe and it's comfortable. She actually came to Anna Marathon with us, and because it was something new and they weren't sure what's going on, her dad insisted on coming along. Yeah, I literally didn't dress up for that one. Well, I did the Ninth Doctor, which, if you know, that's a leather jacket and a sweater and a sonic screwdriver. We still made the most of it, but to keep him comfortable.
I mean, he kind of hovered a little bit, but you did a really good job of, like, kind of having us get to do our own thing.
But because she got to go to that,
apparently, okay, I gotta explain a bit more before this will make sense, but, like, another one of my friends I also saw there, a Present Mike cosplayer that I see at a couple conventions, was also there, and I'm like, when did she get associated with this girl? Because because, like, not only did I know Lauren, but I also knew the Present Mike cosplayer. I'm not gonna say her name, but the first time we met, she proposed to me with a rose because I was dressed up as Aizawa, and, like, with that whole, like, ship and stuff. And obviously I took that opportunity to tease her throughout the entire panel, but regardless, me and my friend, we sat in the panel, and essentially everybody was dressed as a character. They had a ton of different ones. I believe it was a Toga, Ochako, Kirishima, a Bakugo, a Deku, a Nejire, and also there was one more, and then there was the mic. So you get to, like, you raise your hand, ask a question, and then Bakugo would throw a piece of candy at you. And I mean throw. At one point, he was, like, putting them on tables, and he was like, he kept getting tired of having to walk back and forth, and he was like, wait, I know that person in the back, and proceeded to yeet it at the wall at full speed. I'm not even kidding when I say he threw it at full speed, and everyone ducked.
But see, I love this, that you're starting to make contacts in this world and see the same people over and over again. Yeah. Because you have noticed that in the past, when we've done conventions, that I know everybody.
Or everybody knows of you. And therefore, everyone has a general idea of who I am, even if I have no clue who they are.
Or they'll spot you and, like, oh, so that other one must be mad.
So that's Dad.
And So you're and that doesn't happen overnight.
No.
But it hasn't been overnight. You're starting to see that slowly start to trickle up. And so that's a really kind of cool thing to run into. Yes. There's one other thing I've got to I have to ask,
yeah. Oh well.
What is this?
Okay.
Why is it? What is this?
Okay. So one of the things that you were supposed to do in the panel, aside from asking questions, was you would get to dare the characters to do something. And everybody's dares were fairly boring. I came up with 2 good ones. I had Mike scream into the hallway, and then I also looked at the Kirishima, and I was like, what is the most ridiculous thing I can do here? I raised my hand, and I was like, I dare you to leave the panel and go find a rock or something rock-shaped. And he was like, oh, yes, I am so doing this, and bolted out the door. Around 15 minutes later, he comes back in with a rock, proudly showing it off to the group. And then, a little bit later, he puts it on my desk and he was like, who's the one that had me go get the rock? And I nervously raised my hand, and he's like, here, you can keep the rock. And I'm like, oh, cool.
And she's holding it. She has the rock.
I brought the rock.
The rock came home.
Yeah, and then later on at the end of the panel, towards the end of the panel, I was like, can you sign my rock? And he was like, yes, do you have a pen? And I'm like, no. So we looking around for someone to find a pen. Toga had a pen. Don't know why Toga had a pen, but Toga had a pen. So my rock is signed with Ejiro Kirishima, and it has I think it's a little rock doodle on it. And funny story, I made a post about this. I made a quick video that I edited together, and I posted it on my Instagram, which both of the, which actually all 3 of them follow. And the Kirishima commented and was like, I'm glad my rock went to a happy place. The Nejire commented saying, I'm glad you guys had fun. And I was just saying, throughout that panel, I was laughing so much. I hadn't laughed that much in such a long time. And when it hit about the 20-minute mark, I was looking at my friend and I was like, there's no way we're leaving this panel. So I had to sacrifice my greenies to go to, frankly, one of the best panels I've ever been to. Because that was just so much. They should invite me next year so I can do Hatsume or something.
I've done panels there. I did one on cosplaying on a budget, and they thought better of it because I use trash. How do you get trash? You dumpster dive. You pick up things off the side of the road, and
oh no!
You're driving your kids to school, and you see a leather yellow couch, and you drop them off, and then you stop over there with your razor, and apparently this was not appropriate to.
I mean, you have an unusual way to go about things.
One of the nice things there is they do set up a game room. They set up a video game room with Japanese video games. That's nice because they had really good ones in the past. They had
a random scooter game in there. And I was playing said scooter game in big boots. I looked ridiculous.
Not as ridiculous as the Grinch doing rhythm games and music games. But they actually had arcade setups there. In the past, they've had Nintendo and Super Nintendo and Genesis and PlayStation.
Right, we played Mario Party last year.
Right, they've done that. I like that they set up an arcade because that's one of the things I miss about going to Hazard Con.
We haven't
that's.
I don't even. It's been a while since we gone to Hazard Con.
That's kind of and actually their dealer's room has kind of grown a little bit more and more too. Although it's still very craft based.
Yes, I love going and especially when me and my friend were walking through and stuff. I'm looking at the crocheted stuff and I'm noted. And I mean at one point we came across a stand that had these little witch kitties, and I was looking at one of the little ones because they're adorable. And I was asking him how much, and he's like $35. And I'm like, I love it so much, but I can't justify $30 on a plushie this small.
There's a lot of them like that, and I'll look for the deals. I like the one that always does food. I think I need to get more sushi from them, but I need to make sure that it's different colors. I've got a small collection of food plushies up here with a little bun and a fried egg in a box of noodles. Still a tiny donut, sushi and stuff I like that. I got a tiny frog from one of the crochet people, which I'm going to make a Thor helmet for so that he can hang out with Alligator Loki, who's also crocheted.
I mean, And especially over time, you start to recognize the artists that continuously come. There's this one girl that's always there. She does a lot of like crocheted plushies and stuff, and I know her because she's the worm girl. She's the girl that has the worms that she's always trying to get people to adopt. And I like her. She's always really, really sweet. So I bought like a mystery bag from her for like $35, or not 30. It was $30. Which was really cool. And she was like, for $1 extra, you can get a little cowboy hat for them. And I'm like, okay.
The cowboy hat's confused me.
I come back a little bit later and I'm like, I will take 3 cowboy hats.
I found also food. I got some wheat buns that I keep reading about these, so they're each in a different flavor, and that's one of the things I like to get at these. That was most of what I bought. I don't buy a lot of art because, look, it's a character deficiency, but I create art, so I don't buy it as much. Some of my other artist friends are the exact opposite way. They love to buy art because they are artists. I look at something like, I wonder if I could make that, and
I'm always buying art from stands and stuff to fill up my wall.
And I love that. And you and Lydia both do that. And I like that we cultivated that in you. Is there anything else that struck you about Zipcon? I know, like, we kind of collapsed a couple times. We had a bad break right in the middle of, like, an hour. And that's not what you want. If you keep going from panel to panel to panel, you keep going. But if you got that break in the middle, it just stops you dead.
Well, one of the things that did stick out to me, I'm like a Has Been in Hell of a fan. It was really cool to see a lot of those cosplays out, just because generally I like to, well, as I said, it's fandom based, and it's always really cool to see that kind of stuff. But even just like, as you were kind of mentioning, the way that people act like their characters was really cool. I mentioned earlier that there was a Sundrop that I came across, and I don't think I've really given you context, but Sundrop is from Five Nights at Freddy's. It's a character that runs a daycare, and he's he does stuff with kids. And he was giving out like little when he had Bakugo go do a dare. She gave him they gave him like a little star sticker, which was just so cute, and I was just like, oh. And apparently, like, a lot of people were, like, doing that. And I was just like, oh. It was really cool to see everybody kind of just acting like their characters. And frankly, I'm a bit upset that, well, not really upset, but my friend got recognized as Dobby. And I don't think I got recognized more than once that entire convention. Even in the My Hero panel, which was weird.
I think that's got more to do with the fact that it was plain goggles.
Yeah.
I think the plain goggles and not the Hatsune goggles may have contributed to that.
But, I mean, aside from that, I mean, we kind of got towards the end. We just ended up walking around and...
So, yeah, by the end of the day, by the time we hit 5 or 6 o'clock, we are generally out of steam. And it just... And that's fine, because we showed up at 10:30.
Yeah, we were there, like, all day.
So that's Zipcon for this year. We're going to talk a little bit more about other conventions as we go along.
We've got one planned for this weekend.
Yep. So February, for some reason, February and March, a lot of times right now seem to be our big, busy periods. We'll be back with Great Lakes Comic-Con after a movie or two. In the meantime, we're going to head out here.
All right. Bye.